Welcome to the Motorsport Coaching Podcast, sponsored by Motivate Training and Management. This is a podcast where we talk to drivers and industry experts to help you maximize your performances on and off the track. Let's get started with today's show. Hey guys, well, welcome to episode 44 of the Motorsport Coaching Podcast. I am your host, Belinda Risley, and today I am joined by Oliver Myers. He's the owner and performance coach at EurOz Performance, based out of Sydney Motorsport Park. He's a previous multiple British champion and European race driver, now performance coach, providing holistic approach to driver preparation and development for all forms of motorsport. Guys, if you're ever thinking of getting a driver coach or you don't know the benefits of having a driver coach, I think you're really going to enjoy today's episode. We'll also hear about the benefits of having a sim trainer, but also what kind of data that he can get from his specific sim. So again, grab your pen, grab your coffee, or if you're listening, don't forget, if you wanted to listen to these episodes quite quickly, you can increase the speed to 1.5 or to 2, and it will bring that 30-minute show down to around about 15 minutes. Once again, guys, we'll welcome Oliver. Well, welcome to the show, Ollie.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. Hi, guys.
Now, tell us a little bit about you and how did you get started in motorsport?
I've been racing. I had a big background in motorsport. I've been racing since I was 10, 11 years of age. Actually, took a different path into racing compared to others. It was because my dad had an operation on his knee, and instead of going on a ski holiday, he turned around and said, how about we buy you a go-kart? And unfortunately, that was a bit of a financial mistake, but it's, and to be fair, just snowballed from there. We took the kart to a local car park, and we found a little track to race on, and it just escalated from there. We won the club championship there, then we went on to racing nationally, and then obviously racing European as well. So in that time, we picked up 2 British Open championships, podiums around Europe in the kart racing scene, and just escalated. I think everyone's story starts small and ends up, just getting more and more involved in the process, and just snowballed from there really in terms of getting into the sports scene.
Yeah, so obviously you're not born in Australia, so tell us where were you born and a bit of a family history. Of
course, yeah, so I'm from the UK. I'm from a place called Leeds, which is northern England, I've grown up. I moved over to Australia when I was 19, so quite young. It was all through the racing that they all came around. So a bit about my background with the racing is due to sponsorship and budget restrictions, meant that I couldn't carry on racing through and through into the car scene. The car scene was fairly limited. Budget restrictions, and actually had a sponsor fail on me. And so it meant that I stepped into the coaching world quite young. That took me all around Europe doing the coaching, into the Middle East, into Dubai and around there. And then contacts and networking and everything meant that opportunities came up on this side of the world in Australia. And originally I just came out here for 6 weeks in 2013 and 14 over the Christmas period for a little bit of work around Sydney, and went down to Melbourne. And I loved it, to be fair.
Why wouldn't you?
Love summer, yeah. Exactly right. Middle of summer in Australia, so it was fantastic. We loved it, and I kind of came away from that saying, I've got to stay there. Really, I've got to look. I love it there. The motorsport scene was fantastic, and the way that I kind of described it to a lot of people back home when I went back was it's very organic. So in the UK there was a very kind of sense of teams driving the prices up, and it was all becoming very kind of, I don't know, not prima donna in a way, but it's just becoming very, a lot of people in it just for whereas over here it was, let's go racing, let's have some fun, and let's try and be the best we possibly can be. And that's what I loved about it. So I said, I've got to come back and I want to be involved in over this world. And a year later, I came out on a one-way flight when I was, 19, and not really been back since.
Oh, really? And your family here or just yourself?
Well, so it's just me. My girlfriend live over here. She's from England as well, but Actually got family visiting me at the moment, but it's just me. I have been back to the UK quite a few times actually to visit.
Yeah.
But other than that, I've not gone back there to settle.
Why not? As I said, the summers are great in Australia, so you might as well stay. So, Ollie, you mentioned you started driver coaching around about when you're 19. What does a driver coach do, or what services do you provide?
So to start off with the coaching, it was all one-to-one at the race circuit, and it was heavily involved with one driver, with the race team going through all the data, studying the driver on track, his performances, his racing, racecraft, all that kind of stuff. Though for me, doing what I'm doing now, if I fast forward to with the driver performance thing, covering a holistic approach to driver performance with all the off-track preparation. Going back to when I first moved over here, one of the big things I saw over here was that there wasn't anywhere where a driver could go to focus on their fitness, their simulator work, or off-track preparation all as one. There's lots of different companies around everywhere doing lots of different things.
Yep.
There's no one that does it all. And when I was racing, I relied heavily on the off-track preparation. So as a coach, when I started coaching, I really wanted to focus, of course, being at the track with the driver and going through all the process of that, but then also taking it back into, your race weekend finishes on the Sunday, but then also the Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, working with that driver away from the circuit to make them the best possible driver that they can be, because that's actually where the bulk of the work is done. When they perform, when they come to race, that's when they've just got to do their little bit. But when the preparation, the loading of the driver all becomes, when they're not at the circuit. So me as a coach, when I started young, I really wanted to focus on, what the driver does away from there and where we can get the most amount of gains. So then when we go to the race circuit, we can arrive prepared and have a lot of confidence that we're going to be the best we possibly can be.
Yeah, excuse me, I've got a bit of a tickle in my throat today. So with the driver training, I know in the UK there's a lot of training on offer to become driver coaches and become specialised fitness trainers. Have you undergone any of those specific training processes, or purely are you a driver coach through your experience and passion?
Lots of that. I absolutely love the motorsport. It's one of those drugs that you can't get enough of almost. It's you've got to have your dose of motorsport, that's for sure. But I have been through. So when I was racing in the UK, I was actually selected onto the MSA Academy, which is, I think, the equivalent to the CAMS Academy over here. And throughout that process, we did go through an advanced apprenticeship in sporting excellence, which is a qualification that covers your coaching, your nutrition, your fitness, and gives you it's an internationally recognised award that qualifies you as a coach. So I have got that to my belt, in terms of the coaching and all that kind of stuff as a qualification. And then obviously I've got the other qualifications I focused on when I was racing. I've got a qualification in mechanical engineering and all your other stuff. So that's the coaching.
And what part do you love most about coaching?
I think the biggest thing for me is seeing the development of a driver over time. So not just working with a driver for one short time, a couple of weeks, and then doing all that. I think the biggest thing for me is when you really get that relationship with the driver and the coach, and you build it over time, because that's when you see the biggest amount of growth. And I've got a driver, for example, Joshua Carr, who's in Formula 4 in the USA. He just moved out of karts at the beginning of last season, and we underwent a very, very intense training and development program for his transition from karts into car racing on the simulator, in the gym, and also just his mental and lifestyle approach to his transition, and going into the season, which Formula 4 USA has last year 36 cars on the grid. It's a very tough championship. Drivers from all around the world, and he stepped into that in round 3 or 4. He had his first win of the season, and fourth in the championship. And just seeing that growth with that's a prime example where you see the driver go from fair play to the kid is already a very talented driver. You're not taking anything away from them, but it is very difficult to go your first season of cars racing at such a demanding championship. It's just to have the results and success that he had, and we're convinced that the plan, the preparation we put in place was paid off and paid dividends. So it's that kind of things that really do for me think, you know what, this is good. I like this. I love this. So that's what makes it enjoyable, and
fun. Excuse me. And so, Ollie, when do you think a motorsport competitor should engage in a driver coach? Is it early on, like during karting, or during Excel season? When do you think is the best time, or is there a preferred time, or?
Listen, I don't believe there's any particular time. Of course, everyone's going to think I'm biased. Come straight away.
No.
But listen. As a driver, we work with people from people moving kart racing all the way up to gentleman drivers. Racing the GT scene. Anyone can engage at any time. I think the most important is the younger drivers moving out of kart racing into car racing. We spend a lot of time with the transition process, putting on the simulator, learning about weight transfer, the suspension, the gears, just things they've not had to use or think about. Brake techniques, brake pressure, and all those kind of things that you can run through and view the data on our simulator. That's really that just takes away so much time at the track. If they can skip through all those steps here, in a risk-free environment, and obviously a fraction of the price to going and spending days at the race circuit, I think that's when you get a really good benefit for the driver. But in terms of engaging the services, it can really come at any time. I think the best time is at the beginning of the season, so you can really prepare yourself for the rest of your season. But if you're listening to this now and you think you've got a race coming in 3 weeks' time, you've never been to the circuit before, you want to familiarise yourself with the circuit, even if it's a circuit you've been to lots of different times, or you're driving a different car that you're used to driving. We can put it on the simulator. We can tune in for that. And that's how we work.
So, Ollie, for the layman, explain to us what is a simulator and what are the benefits of being in a simulator?
Yeah, of course. So the simulator that we use is a professional race simulator worth over $100,000. And it's the accuracy that we get out of the simulator with the tracks, and all our cars are made in-house, and the accuracy taken from all the data, the physics, the geometry, real, engine, dyno readouts, and all the power outputs and everything are then put into the program, and we're editing it and updating it continuously so the driver gets the best feel from the car. All our tracks, we like to keep as up to date as possible with all our circuits around Australia. And so when they come to use our simulator, there is a difference between a simulator that you have at home, your front room. I'm not taking anything away from the sim races at all. But then when you come to this, is a different kettle of fish, to be honest. Because we can really extract the data out of it. We can really, optimize everything so the driver can really feel everything through the wheel. The feedback they get through the wheel is second to none. The brake pressure, the drivers can simulate real brake pressure that they would in a car. For example, Formula 4 is notoriously known for having ridiculously high amounts of brake pressure, up to 130 bar, if not more sometimes. They can simulate that in the simulator. They can put a lot of force through that pedal and really feel, look and perfect their braking shape on the data and really run through that. So there is a difference between that. So the simulator that we use actually do everything from the simulator room from the UK. So it is the same standard as used by professional race outfits and teams, and actually, to be honest, a couple of Formula 1 teams. So it is pretty special, and so it really does help for the driver to be able to get onto something and drive this like they would their car. A lot of drivers tend to come in, especially if they do a lot of sim racing at home and stuff. And there are differences. And if you come and drive it like that, you're not going to get the most out of your session, because we're here to focus on what actually happens best out in the race circuit. But also B, you really do have to drive it as though and approach it as though you're heading out onto the circuit to get the most out of it.
And do you have every track in Australia there or in the world, or what kind of tracks do you have on the simulator?
At the end of the day, like I say to everyone, at the end of the day, it is just a simulator. So we can make and create whatever the hell we want, really. So yes, the list is endless. We cover pretty much every circuit in Australia. And New Zealand, and drivers that do the Blank Pound Asia races and F3 Asia. So we've got all that, and the list goes on and on and on. Here all day if you want me to tell you every circuit I get hold of.
That's all right. So, Ollie, you are the founder and the performance coach of you. Now I'm going to forget it. EurOz.
That's the one.
Performance based out of Sydney. So tell us a little bit, obviously EurOz came about through your driver coaching, but how did you come to the studio that you have today, or the location that you have today, and where is the location? And
so we're based within Sydney Motorsport Park. We're at Suite 8B, which is towards the front near the cafe, of those of you that are familiar of the park, on top of the pits. It's a fantastic location, but just winding a little bit. We were originally based just over the road on Peterbrook Drive, which is literally, as the crow flies, 500 metres away from where I am now. So we originally, like I touched upon at the beginning of this chat, was when I first came over here, the simulator and the fitness and all those services that I was on whilst I was on the MSA Academy in the UK was something I relied so heavily on. And when I came over here, the one thing I saw was, there was people doing the fitness, there's people doing this, there's people doing that, but there's not one place that someone comes to and say, right, I want to be 100% prepared for this race. I want to do, a couple of hours a week on the simulator. I want to have a 5-day training program, blah, blah. Can we do this? Can we do that? Can we do that? That's it. It's all one way from the one-stop shop kind of element comes in, and that's what really came about when setting up EurOz Driver Performace was the coaching that we could apply at the race circuit, we can apply on the simulator. We work closely with, when I talk about the fitness, we have the fitness provider, Super 6 Performance. So they provide all the fitness for our drivers. So his background, so he's Carl Jennings, who is a recipient of the New Zealand Bravery Award from the Queen. And he's been working. So his background is in the NRL. He's been over 25 years, worked for the Wallabies, All Blacks, Great Britain, Rugby League, and loads of NRL teams within New South Wales. However, he over the past 2 to 3 years now, he's taken a great understanding and learning curve in applying fitness to motorsport. He knows what works for fitness, but it's taking the elements of what he knows and applying it into motorsport with my help and obviously all the drivers that we've had through the program. And really have got a strong program with the fitness side of things that not only covers, like I said at the beginning, not only covers just the fitness, but also the lifestyle. And we also call it a mental and emotional support as well, really focusing on what the drivers are getting up to, not just in the gym, not just in the simulator, but also preparing for the race, the sleep, the food, the absolutely everything. How are they tiring themselves out, working too hard, looking for sponsors, doing this, going here, driving here, traveling. People underestimate just how much traveling takes out of a driver. So really just taking it back to basics, and the process that we've put in place is what we call a map to success. So anyone in life, when they're traveling, need to get somewhere. So we've called it the map to success because, if you're going to go to the shops that you don't know where they are, you look at your maps. And everyone knows how they're going to achieve success. So we really just lay it out in a format of where we sit down with the driver and consult with them. Not just, are you doing this, but just talk to them and have a nice chat. It's about a 5-hour process, if not sometimes longer with the driver, until we really come across what's the driver really doing well? What are their strengths? And then what are their weaknesses? And every driver will have a lot of strengths and a lot of drivers will have weaknesses. And also, in particular, every driver will have a point of difference. And that's what really makes that driver stand out. So then what we do is we evaluate that and analyze that and have a really good chat about what they do best and what we can what maybe they don't do as well. So we call that process strengthening the strengths and weakening the weaknesses. So in that kind of text, we believe that we can't ever completely get rid of a weakness. And if you spend time studying and focusing and trying to make that weakness into a strength, you're never going to do that. What you may as well do is just leave that little weakness down there and really focus on what that driver's strengths are, point of difference. Build that into their training, build that into their simulator work, build that into everything that they do in everyday life so that they're really good at that. And that time, you look back at that little weakness, nothing, it's minuscule compared to what we've created with the strengths. So that's the process we've put in place there. That covers, the simulator preparation, the fitness, and their whole lifestyle. So that's a great process that we've got there.
Fantastic. And is Super 6 based at Sydney Motorsport Park as well?
No, so they've just moved as well. So as I moved 6 months ago, they've actually just taken a bit of a transition as well. They were actually based, so from my old office to their old gym, it was only actually 300 metres away. But we're based, it's 10 minutes down the road. They're based in Blacktown International Sports Park, so they've got all the state-of-the-art facilities now. So that's just, made things even better for us anyhow, because, the facilities that they've got hold of over in the International Sports Park, which was built for the Olympians. So if it's good for the athletes that were in the Olympics, I'm sure it's good enough for our drivers as well.
Sure it is. Now, Ali, if someone's looking to engage with a driver coach, what are some of the things that they should be looking for? What are some of the benefits of, like we spoke about the benefits of having a driver coach, but what should they be looking for within a driver coach? Some qualities. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think, when a driver, they've got to know what they want in a certain aspect. But also, at the same time, they don't. If a driver's really struggling with a certain area, and that's, then they can come, especially to the simulator, and practice it over again with our help, with my expertise, looking at and analysing the data, real time, live telemetry, the intercom. So we can talk to and from and really work out if the driver's got an issue or where the issue is coming from or what it could be. The only, the driver, doesn't know the circuit, they can come give us a call. If anyone's listening, they've got any kind of things in the back of their minds that they're unsure about, or, any kind of questions, just pick up the phone. That's the best thing I can say, and just have a chat, and that's when you really then start to realise what they want from me and what I need from them, and that's when you really start to create the relationship. It's very difficult to say what should someone look for in a driver coach, because it's it depends. It's
preference, yeah. And how can people get in contact with you, Ollie? What's the best way? Is it via social media platforms, or do you have a number?
No. So I've got a telephone number. I've got Facebook, EurOz Driver Performace on Facebook.
All those social media links will be in the show.
Yeah, all the social media platforms, Instagram, Facebook, everything like that. LinkedIn, I'm on LinkedIn. Website as well. Give me a call, give me an email. I'm very easy to get hold of. I think these days, it's for everyone.
Yeah, and can people come casually?
So we are actually just appointment only. So it is just appointment only bookings. On the race weekends, when there's a race event on, obviously within Sydney Motorsport Park, I'm here all the time, mingling around, networking, talking to people, shaking hands, doing the usual thing. But so I'm here. That's fine. People can wander in. My doors are always open. But during the week, day to day, it is just appointment only. Yes, because you've got drivers. For example, last year you got drivers flying in from Victoria or Queensland for the simulator. So the last thing you want is someone flying in, oh, sorry, mate, we can't look after you today. You have to get on the plane back. So, it's all appointment only. It works best that way.
And how long do the appointments go for if someone wants to book in? Is it like an hour worth, 2 hours?
Yeah, so, obviously, again, I'll be the biggest biased person. Yeah, come see me for the whole day. No. I believe that the best kind of booking to work with a driver is actually 2 hours. I think For an hour, you only really get two sessions on the simulator. In that's like 2 15-minute sessions. You only get really one time to look at the data and have a debrief and really go through everything. And then by the time, an hour goes very, very quickly. For those of you that are listening that have been on the simulator before, they'll all be agreeing with me. And any point after the 2 hours, what you get then is you kind of do get a drop off of the driver, just mentally, because we cover so much ground in the simulator. We can go 100 laps within 2.5 hours, with the debriefs and everything. But we can really power through it. So mentally, the concentration levels and how hard the driver's working in the simulator, you do notice a bit of a drop off at that 2.5 hour point. So when I do actually have a driver that flies in from interstate, what we do is we normally do like a 4-hour session, but we'll do 2 hours. We'll then have an hour's break for lunch. We'll leave the office. We'll go get some lunch. We'll go to the cafe, or they'll all have brought lunch and be nicely prepared. And then, you take the mind away from everything and then hit it again in the afternoon. That works really well as well. But no more than 2 hours at one time. Drivers come for 3 hours. I actually then break it down to 1.5 hours, and then have a 45-minute break, have a bit of refreshments, and then hit it again for another 90 minutes. Any more than just, you really do just get a drop off in the driver's performance. It's very interesting actually when you're working with the drivers that are doing long stints, for the Bathurst 12 hour, and you're preparing for that, because you really then do have to do longer than 2 hours, because they're just stints could be 2 hours plus sometimes. So then you really have to go into the unknown of the driver, and really, that's an area that we work really hard on, because then it comes down to not only their mental performance, but then make them as fit as possible. We'll take them to the gym, increase their fitness performance, and make them, study their nutrition and really have the hydration levels, so that they can stay on the simulator for as long as possible without that off. Driving around a circuit like Bathurst, everyone knows how hard that is to drive around. A couple of laps, never mind hours.
Yeah, so like you're saying, pretty much it's just best just to give you a call and just to see what the person's requirement is. And then
everyone's completely different.
And what they require. Fantastic. And have you been doing any racing yourself since you've been in Australia?
That's a funny question. So I've not actually raced for a while now, and I think the phrase would be getting itchy feet, to be honest.
I was going to say, especially being there.
There's a bit of that now. I think when I was focusing, on building the business and growing that, and moving the office, there in conversations with the ARDC, and all that was very exciting. But now I'm here. Now it's all good. I get to look outside that window, and that's the start-finish line at City Motorsport Park. So seeing every day is a bit of a teaser, to say the least. So I think, in the future, there's definitely going to have to be something to tee up, that's for sure.
Yeah, fantastic. And so, Ollie, what's your favourite track in the world? Since you're
favourite track, that's a good question. We're in Australia. I think Australia's got some fantastic circuits, to be honest. Bathurst, not only being Australia's hardest, probably the world's, that rivals a lot of circuits out there, that takes it to them. Then you've got like Phillip Island over here, which is just, so fast and flowing. And, there's lots of circuits out there. I think Suzuka's a great circuit as well. I think that's fantastic. Silverstone, obviously, staying true to my roots. But, I think my favourite one in the world would probably have to go to Bathurst, to be fair. But I've never actually attacked it in a race car. Circuits that I've attacked in a race car would have to be Silverstone, maybe Brands Hatch, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, when I do interview the UK people, that generally are the top 2 tracks over there. So
yeah, they could
at least to go there next year, I reckon.
I definitely recommend it.
I will. And so, Ollie, do you have any last pieces of advice for anyone wanting to get started again with driver coaching or fitness, or any final words?
Of advice that I can always just arrive prepared and ready to learn. I think the big thing is, really the biggest thing to move forward with a driver is to arrive in a state of mind where they're ready to give it their 100%, and then really do take on board everything you can get. Because when I look back at my career, there's sometimes points when I think, well, if I now just listened to him a bit more, asked him a few more questions. Really, you're here to, if you are, inquiring about coaching, just ask the questions. Don't be afraid. I'm a lovely guy. I'm not going to bite your head off. I'm not going to say, just ask the questions and see what you say, and get all the advice you can get from everyone. And then, that's not to say that people's answers are going to vary. You might ask the same question and get 10 different answers, but at least you've then got all that data then to work out, well, what's his perspective, or where can I see where he's, really then, build your database of knowledge inside your head, and it's only going to make you a better driver,
Oh, fantastic. I love finishing off today's interview with those pieces of advice. So thank you very much again, Ollie. I really appreciate you being here.
Thank you.
Well, thanks everyone for listening to this week's show. I really hope you enjoyed that one as much as I did. Now, remember, all the show notes with the links and the specials mentioned in today's show are available over at motivatetraining.com.au. If you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you could head to iTunes or Stitcher, type in Motorsport Coaching, subscribe, and leave us a review. Each week, I'll read them out and you'll go into monthly draw to win a fantastic prize. If you have any questions or comments, please email us at motivatetraining.com.au or head over to our Facebook page at Motivate to T. Until next time, take care.